Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Once again, we will be exploring true horror stories taken directly from various Reddit pages. For those who are new to the channel, I will be adding software to my voice to make it a little scarier, so don't be confused when I sound a little different. If you guys enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe, it really does help the channel grow. Without further ado, let's get started.
Everyone dies, but not everybody lives. My mother killed herself when I was 3 because she couldn't deal with me. She was at the kitchen table chopping vegetables. I was seated on a chair watching her. I wanted her attention, plus the smooth chop-chop motion looked fun. I reached out and grabbed the knife, closing my sticky little fingers over the sharp, wet blade. My mom shrieked and tried to prise the knife out of my grasp, but that only made me grip harder. "No, no!" yelled my mom. "You'll cut yourself!" and peeled my fingers back one by one from the knife. Then she looked at my blood-free hand, smeared only with some green, glistening celery juice. She knew then. She knew beyond a shadow of the doubt. She couldn't pretend anymore. She had known since I was born, she must have, as had the midwife and nurses who delivered me. But they all carefully suppressed knowledge. After all, there I was, a healthy-looking baby who still needed care, despite being dead. My mom picked up the knife. Smiling a little, she dug the tip into the soft flesh of my arm. I smiled back. Mommy was playing with me, and reached for the knife again. Wanting to keep her interest, I dug it in deeper into my arm. "Look, Mommy." Mommy pulled the knife away and looked sadly at the no blood on my arm. She brought her face close to mine, looking deep into my eyes. I have looked at myself in the mirror in the selfie camera a million times since then. My eyes are perfectly normal brownie blue eyes. But Mommy turned away, and I watched her walk casually out on the small balcony off our kitchen and tip herself over the railings. We lived on the 9th floor. She fell silently, without a sound. After that, I realized that I don't bleed when pricked, and live humans think that is a terrible thing. The rest of my childhood passed by uneventfully enough. I knew I had a secret, which I needed to keep. My dad did an adequate job, and once I was 8 or so, Aunt Gloria joined our family. I kept myself secluded and distant, because I didn't want anyone looking into my eyes and digging a knife into me, and then killing themselves. But by the time I was 15, Aunt Gloria kept asking me about my period. Eventually, she said she'd made an appointment to take me to the doctor to make sure everything is working there. I thought about killing her and running away, but I had nowhere to go. Helplessly, I let myself be taken. The doctor examined me, inside and outside. I remained silent. Then she looked into my eyes. I waited. But she didn't kill herself. She smiled and said, "It's okay. There's many of us, dead ones. It's all going to be okay." I looked back into the empty holes of her eyes, and I nodded in recognition. My therapist made me write an apology letter to my abusive father. Dr. Matthews expectantly stares at me while I forge my half-assed letter. Dear Dad. The start is cliché as fuck. Sounds stupid, but that's all I got for the beginning. I know you had faults. I understand what could have drove you to the lengths you did. I still remember the bottle. That unfathomable feeling of jagged glass tearing my skin. I was angry at you. Angry that you hurt me. Angry that you hurt Mom. Angry that you hurt my baby brother. Bile creeps up my throat. But now, after all these years, I forgive you. I understand that my response was rash, uncalled for, over the top, and I'm sorry. I wish you could forgive me, and that I could forgive myself. The last bit sounded convincing enough. Maybe it could fool her. Dr. Matthews looks at the note I've written. An improvement from last time. I exhale in the most dramatic way possible, but still needs improvement. That primal dread rips me apart again. I can't find any sincerity in this, and until you can find that, I'm afraid we're not making any progress. and I'm a child again. I'm fearfully pulling the gun out of the safe and hiding under my bed. Orderly, send the patient back to solitary. Dad's creeping towards me. Do the unimaginable and you'll be free. Please, not solitary. Makes me want to tear my skin off. He's yelling at me. Knows I'm under there. Are you implying that we haven't made any progress at all? Shoot at him. Keep shooting until the gun clicks. Weep as the sirens grow louder. No, please, please, I'm recovering. I'm not a killer. Rough hands grip my body. The orderlies are taking me somewhere. I hope you are. You're lucky we didn't send you to prison. Nels is in the room. So I'm 12 at the time of writing this. This happened when I was about 10 or so years old. So after my brother, who is 17 months older than me, making him 11 when this happened, had one of his soccer games about an hour away from our house, we went home after stopping to grab something to eat. As soon as we all entered the gate, we picked up on the fact that our dogs were already barking. They don't normally bark until we get to the door, but despite this, we just assumed they were playing. Nothing really happened at all until about 10 p.m. At this time, we were all heading for bed, and me and my brother shared a room since our cousin was using our downstairs room. When we were talking in an attempt to entertain ourselves since we weren't tired at all, we heard the slightest noise from the bathroom. We were kind of startled by the noise, but just deemed it house noises. This went on for about an hour. Eventually we fell asleep and I woke up at around 2:40 a.m. So did my brother. We awoke to a loud crash from inside the closet, followed by a very heavily muffled CRAP. This is where we ran out of the room, me first as my brother was still half asleep. We ran downstairs screaming for our parents and our cousin, who was 23 at the time and very buff. When I heard my brother get out of bed, I heard the closet door being forced open. I only caught a glimpse of the person, obviously a man. A large beard, short black hair, and dressed in a gray shirt, with boots and jeans. He didn't seem to be holding anything. I'd be lying if I said the cliché. There seemed to be a long, sharp object in his hand. But we woke our cousin before we even made it down completely. I could tell because he was yelling at us to shut up, or he'd have the dogs beat us up. Of course, his smile faded once he heard a third set of footsteps, and we waited downstairs for a good minute before our cousin had to go back up to confront the man. We heard our cousin scream, and then silence. It didn't sound like a scream of pain. It sounded like a scream of fear. He ended up knocking the man unconscious and suffered a few good hits to the ribs. Our parents also came downstairs when they decided to go and yell at us for waking them up with all the noise. Eventually the cops showed up and arrested the man. He was mid-40s and very mentally ill. I'm not sure who he was or where he is now, but I hope he is receiving the proper treatment and doing better. As of right now, nothing new has happened. I will update if it does, That laugh. So this incident happened to me when I was 17. It was around 3:37 a.m. in the midnight. I was watching anime on my phone. It was my friend. Let's call him Brian. So Brian called me in the midnight and asked me to come to his house. I asked him why, but all he said that just shut up and come to his place and come ASAP and drop the call. So in the next few minutes I was thinking of an escape plan. So I slowly went downstairs, picked up the keys to the main doors, and I was unlocking the front door. So just when I was about to open the door after unlocking it, I heard someone laughing. It was a very faint, but a really terrifying and sinister laugh. But still, I thought that I must have imagined it in my head because I was so afraid that I don't get caught by my dad. So I opened the front door, and I went to open the main door. While I was trying to find the keys to the main door, I heard that laugh once again. This time I was sure of it. It was real. Holy crap. I was so terrified even by the idea of some strange lady standing near my house in the middle of the night and laughing that I dropped the keys on the floor. I was so terrified that I was frozen like a statue. I wanted to run away, but it was as if my body refused to move. Even now, thinking about that incident is giving me chills. The next thing I remember was that my father slapped me on my cheek and asked me what the heck is going on. But I didn't say any word and just kept standing like a statue. My father shook me by my shoulder and asked me again. I ended up bursting into tears. I was crying and told him everything that had happened. Next moment, he took out my cricket bat, opened the door, and checked outside, but there was no one to be found. My dad came back and asked me if I was lying to him about all of this. Then I took out my phone and showed him my call history, but there was no call from his number. I was shocked about what had happened just now. I was so shocked, confused, and terrified at the same moment that I threw my phone on the ground and ran inside my room and started to cry. Minutes later, my mom came to me and asked me if I was telling the truth. I convinced her that I was not lying and it was all true. Then she asked me to sleep because I had exams in the morning. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Then around 5:30 in the morning, my dad came in and said, "It is about time I wake up or I'll be late for my exam." So I got up and got ready and was waiting at the table for my breakfast. Then my dad came to me and asked me to forget all what had happened, because he said that I could have just imagined everything about that someone was standing near our house in the midnight and laughing. He said that it could have been because of sleep deprivation. But I know that I wasn't just imagining things all of a sudden. It was all true. I say mistake. Hey, it's been 20 years since this last happened, and I want you guys to make sure you don't make the same mistake I did. One day in November, I and my friends were at a park. We all were about 6 to 7 years old. I met a kid at the park named Riley. She was there with her older brother, and he was nice and looked to be 6 feet. We played with him for 2 hours. Then my mom said that we were leaving in 30 minutes. Then the teenager said that we could play duck, duck, goose in the forest. There was a forest nearby the park, so me and my friends agreed to go with him. He said to my mom that he was going to go get us snacks to eat with us, and she said that it was fine. So we went to the forest with the teenager. We walked for about 10 minutes until he said, "Let's get ready." I and my friends were happy to play, so we got ready. He started to pat on our heads until the kid. Right next to me, Ethan was chosen. The teen told him to come with him and they went walking. Minutes later, me and my friends heard screaming from Ethan. Then it went silent. I and my friends got up and started to run as fast as we could. Then I found my mom and we told her about what just happened. She soon called the police and they went investigating, but they couldn't find anything except a knife with blood on it with handprints on it. There was soon a search party, and it involved most of our whole town in the party. After months of searching, they couldn't find anything. The teen was never caught either. After this, I thought it was my fault, because I was stupid and followed him. But I learned something important, and that is, you shouldn't trust strangers, and you shouldn't too. I want to thank you for reading if you did. And don't make the same mistake as me. Journal of a Schizophrenic. Journal of a Schizophrenic. Journal of a Schizophrenic disclaimer. This is not a creepypasta as you may know them. I am a 16-year-old male that has schizophrenia. I decided to keep a journal to show my therapist any progress I may have made on this new medication over the summer, as I will not be able to see her in my mom's state. This is my real journal accounts. Everything in this post is very real. That does not mean that I'm crazy. Not that I find those words offensive. They are technically accurate, especially for some. However, I am a relatively functional human. Unfortunately, when the paranoia hits, it's a bit different. This may be quite distressing to some because, again, this is real. This will not have a convenient ending. Most of it will be nonsensical fears that I hold. This is just a peek through my day-to-day life. I did not change any of the content here except personal details. I typed it out word for word. I showed this to a couple friends who were curious about my illness, and they got pretty spooked, so I figured I'd post this here for you guys to enjoy. Let me know if you'd like to see more, and I'll keep updating about once a week. Tuesday, June 9th. Stressful day, flew out to Mom's state, and forgot my mask. Went to Holiday, and they had some, so I was able to catch my flight. Everything went smooth enough. First flight was good, Landed 45 minutes early. How is that possible? Second flight was okay, slept through most of it, but the kid behind me kept screaming at me and slamming his tray. I wanted to smash his head into the seat. Got a haircut when I got home, and it looks really good. It's been way too long. Reflection has been complimenting me a lot. I decided to name him as a reminder that he is not me, and his opinion doesn't matter. His name is Frank, kind of an inside joke between Claire and I. Been talking to her more too lately. I guess she really wasn't avoiding me after all. Left my glasses at the airport, but Mom wasn't mad and said she'd get me a new pair. Dad made cube steaks and gravy, salad and broccoli for dinner, and it was so fucking good. Putta. Oh, we also had really good sushi for lunch. Weighed myself, and I'm 174.6. I'd like to be about 165 by the time I leave. Wednesday, June 10th. Finished watching The Invisible Man with the family tonight. Surprisingly good movie. Also opened up the iPhone 3G and found that the battery was expanded and wouldn't hold a charge. Lost 2 of the screws. Mom and Dad ordered me a new battery though. I think that gets here Friday, so I'm excited for that. Overall, today was a pretty uneventful day, but was a good one. Frank was quite enough today, or at least quieter than usual. Oh, Mom made tortellini soup today. It's my favorite. Thursday, June 11th. My Amazon package comes tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about that. Today was a pretty chill day. Dad showed me this new show called The Expanse, and it seems really good. Finding distractions is helping me keep my mind off IT and act normal. Frank keeps calling me to the bathroom to talk about IT though. I know they're in there too, but at least they can't see what's in my head. I'm just going to keep myself distracted and act as normal as possible. They can't know that I know. Friday, June 12th. I'm anxious today. Frank's been calling me more and more to talk about IT. I hope they haven't noticed. I want to tell Mom and Dad about them, but I don't want to get them involved. What if they hurt them? I don't know what to do. Scared. Haven't been sleeping well lately. My meds are making me sick, but I know I have to keep taking them. We went to check out the cabin today though, and I'm excited to get out of here. I just don't know if I can wait a whole month. Amazon package came today in an all-white, unmarked truck. I know the man was one of them. I could see it in his eyes. He waved to me from the truck and I had to wave back. They can't know that I know. Don't let them find out. Saturday, June 13th. Went shopping with Mom and Dad today. Got new toothpaste, a sweatshirt, a pair of slides, and 3 shirts. Also got Chick-fil-A and it was so good. Talked to Frank a lot again. He won't shut up about them. The Amazon driver followed us. Still haven't told Mom. He took my emotions. I don't know when he'll give them back. I was talking to Lydia about it a little bit and she told me to write it in my journal and come back to it. To see if I've improved in a couple days, I guess. I'm just so tired of being watched all the time. I want to tape over my outlets, but then they'll know. We had a fire tonight and watched a star disappear. Saw a monster in my mirror today too. Black. Blacker than Vanta black. Dripping somehow even blacker liquid from its body. Scared the shit out of me. It had no eyes, but I could feel it looking at me. Tapping on the glass. Tap. 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 Dot. Tap. 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 Sharp claws. I could if it wanted to.